Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Justin Feldman from Feldman Physical Therapy and Performance. And today we're going to do a little in-depth review of the Saucony Kinvara 12, the latest iteration of the Kinvara in the Saucony lineup. We'll run through all the usual specs, the weight, the heel drop, brake pattern, all that stuff. We'll chat about our thoughts on it, some changes compared to last year's model, and we'll talk about who we think this is a good shoe for and who we think it might not be a great shoe for. So before we dive too far into this shoe, make sure if you like this kind of content and you appreciate it, you jump down and subscribe down below. We got lots of different shoe reviews coming out. Really hard job we have here getting our hands on all these shoes and trying them out. So we work really hard at it. You know, it's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. And so if you like all that stuff, make sure you subscribe down there so that you don't miss out on any reviews. And if you know someone thinking about getting their hands on this shoe, then definitely share this video with them. So as we jump in here, we'll talk about Kinvara in general has been a staple of the Saucony lineup for a long time. And I will say it is a shoe that I always love, except for those random times that Saucony makes a ton of changes to the shoe and kind of ruins it. And then they've been pretty good about going back every couple of years and making sure it gets back to its roots. And so I was a little nervous because this shoe is a little bit of a change up from last year's model, the 11. Take a little look. We'll run some comparisons here. But really excited to report that I think all the changes in this year's shoe were for the positive. I really have been enjoying this shoe. Every year, doesn't matter whether I hear horrible things or great things about the Kinvara, I end up buying this shoe. And even the years where I'm not a big fan of some of the changes, it's still always one of my favorite shoes to run in. And there have even been years where I will challenge myself and say, I'm not going to buy a Kinvara this year. I'm not going to run in Kinvara. And I don't really make it more than a couple weeks after they release it before I end up with a pair on my feet. So 2021 version, some of the big take homes from this, it has the standard Kinvara 4mm drop. It weighs in at 7.5 ounces, which is 0.3 ounces less than last year's version. So it's amazing. These shoe companies continue to find ways to lighten these shoes a little bit. It is the second year that they have been using their proprietary PWR foam in here. And so what does that mean? Well, basically it means that there's this fancy foam that makes up the cushioning portion of the shoe, and it is a little bit lighter. It's a little springier than the traditional EVA foam that has been around in shoes for a while. Also, it's more durable. So if you didn't run in the 11s, or maybe the last Kinvara you had was 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there, you will know that traditionally the Kinvara has not been the most durable shoe. If you look at the bottom, right, they don't put a ton of rubber on the sole under the foam. It's pretty much just exposed foam down here. And it was a great shoe. It's, you know, usually has been coming in around $100, $110 for a couple of years now, and it just isn't the most durable shoe. That really changed last year when they introduced the PWR foam into the Kinvara lineup, and I found that I was able to get a ton more out of my 11s than I had been able to get out of 8, 9, 10, you know, anywhere before that. And so I'm really excited about that. This is the same foam that they're using in the Endorphin lineup, and if you go up above, you can see our review or comparison of the Endorphin Speed to the Endorphin Pro. But one of the things we mentioned in that video is just how long those shoes last compared to other shoes that are in that more performance lineup of shoes. And so that carries over into the Kinvara. You're going to find a lot more durability in the 12 than you would have in prior years. I think the couple other changes that you'll note here is definitely a little bit more breathable along the upper part here. It just feels like a lighter weight mesh And really a lot of the structure of the shoe is coming out of the printing on the side. There's a lot less cushiony, I'm going to call it extra material on the inside of the shoe and around your heel. So in the 11, all sort of up in here, and see if you can kind of get a good view here, but there's a lot of squishy little foam in there, which I didn't really make here or there of before, but this I find to be a lot more comfortable. I find it just fits my foot a lot better. I'm sure it helps with some of that weight cutting just a little bit. This is a shoe that traditionally in the Kinvara, in order to hold my heel in place, I'm somebody who needs that heel lock in place in order to do that. And I will say so far about 10 miles, first 10 miles in these, I did not do it. I didn't really feel like I needed to, but it does just hold things a little bit more snug. So after the first couple runs, I did deviate back to that heel lock, but it didn't feel like I had to. Felt like just stuck my foot in and it really held my heel in place really well. You'll see the heel counter back here is pretty good and rigid. There's good structure there. There's not bad structure here, but this definitely is a little bit easier for me to break. Doesn't hold shape just as much as we get in the 12 here. As we look into the break pattern here, right, we'll see, okay, nice, good break pattern, pretty much right where your foot is going to bend, okay? That really carries over from the 11, and most of the Kinvara line tend to do that. If we look at some of the torsional stiffness, right, if we kind of twist and rotate the shoe, we will see that the 12 twists a lot more than what we're getting out of last year's 11. And so I always was a big fan of the freedom that I got in the Kinvara. And last year, you could tell they were just a little bit of a stiffer shoe. I think this kind of went back to its roots a little bit more by being not quite as stiff. And for me, that's something that I really like. This 4mm heel drop, it is a sweet spot for me. That is just that 4 or 5mm heel drop is where I feel most comfortable when I am running. And so I think that this is a great shoe for that. I think Saucony markets this shoe as a lightweight trainer, okay? If you're looking for a racing shoe, you can race in this. I think it's a perfectly capable shoe for, many distance races. I do think you get a little bit of a performance boost out of whether you're in something with a plate like the Pro or the Speed, but this is definitely totally capable of handling nice, good long runs, but it's also responsive and snappy enough for some of those shorter runs as well. Now, who might this shoe not be for? Well, like we said, not a ton of torsional stiffness. So if you're somebody who needs some of that for a little bit of help with control, then this might not be the best shoe for you. Also, if you are somebody with pretty stiff, tight ankles and find that you are more comfortable in a larger heel drop, maybe that 8 to 12mm range, then I tend to find that those are people that just put this shoe on and are not comfortable in it. For me, I pop the shoe on my foot and I am instantly comfortable. I have a lot of friends who, for whatever reason, they know how much I like it, and so they try it every year it comes out and just walk around the store and say, not for me. For that reason, our recommendation is that try and get yourself into a local running store, get your hands on these guys, try them on, walk around a little bit. This is one of those shoes, I think if you put it on your feet and it's going to work for you, you're going to know right away. If you put it on and you're unsure of it, doesn't feel quite right, it's probably not gonna work for you. And a lot of times we'll find it's that ankle range of motion that we can blame there, and that's why you're not liking this shoe, and that's fine. You can go into something else. Also, if you're somebody who, for whatever reason, has mostly been running in a larger heel drop, that 8, 12mm range, make sure you ease your way into something as you get lower. You don't want to annoy your Achilles, make your calf mad at you, or any of that stuff. So that is who this shoe would be great for, maybe who it wouldn't be so good for. I say it gets a double thumbs up from me. I am really excited about some of the changes. also some of the things that were not changed. And I could see myself putting a lot of miles on these this year. So if you have any questions, comments, things you're wondering about, curious about, go ahead and throw them down in the comments below. We make sure to get to all of them. If you have other shoes you're interested in seeing us take a look at or getting a physical therapist perspective on, same thing, jump down in the comments and we will make sure to take a look at them. Until then, we'll see you right back here next time.